In this video, we are going to tackle and learn about adding fractions with like terms and also subtracting fractions with like terms. So first, we should recognize the numerator and denominator. There are two parts to all fractions: the numerator, which is the number above the line, and the denominator, which is the number below. While the denominator tells you how many parts a whole is broken into, the numerator tells you how many pieces of that whole there are. In the fraction 1/2, the numerator is 1 and the denominator is 2. Next, determine the denominator. When two or more fractions have a common denominator, it means they have the same number as a denominator, or that they all represent wholes that have broken into the same number of pieces. Fractions with a common denominator can be added together very easily, and the resulting fraction will have the same denominator as the original fractions. For instance, the fractions 3/8, 5/8, and 17/8, they have a common denominator of 8. Then, locate the numerators. To add fractions together when they have a common denominator, you simply add all the numerators together and rewrite the sum over the original denominator. So, on the fractions 3/8 plus 5/8 plus 17/8, the numerators are 3, 5, and 17. So, add the numerators in the example 3/8 plus 5/8 plus 17/8. So, 3 plus 5 plus 17 is equal to 25. Then, copy the denominator. In the example, write the sum of numerators, which is 25, at the above portion of the fraction line, and copy or write the common denominator, which is 8, at the bottom portion of the fraction line. Then, solve the fraction if necessary. Sometimes a fraction can be put into simpler terms, and this includes dividing it to get a number that's not a fraction or a decimal. Tips: any fraction can be converted from a fraction by dividing the numerator by the denominator. For instance, 5/8 can be also written as 5 divided by 8 is equal to 0.625. Next, I am going to teach you also about this. Reduce the fraction if you can. A fraction is said to be its simplest form when they both the numerator and the denominator don't have any common factors that can be divided by. For instance, in the fraction 3/6, both the numerators and the denominator have a common factor of 3, meaning they can both be divided by 3 to produce a whole number. Therefore, the fraction 3/6 can be thought of 3 divided by 3 all over 6 divided by 3, which is 1/2. Convert improper fractions to mixed numbers if necessary. When a fraction has a numerator that's bigger than the denominator, such as 25/8, this is said to be an improper fraction. So the reverse, when the numerator is smaller than the denominator, it is called a proper fraction. So in this case of 25/8, this can be converted into mixed number, which is a number that has a whole number plus a proper fraction. To convert an improper fraction like 25/8 to a mixed number, you need to divide the improper fraction numerator by its denominator to determine how many whole times 8 goes into 25, where the answer is 25 divided by 8 is equal to 3 and 1/8. So that is for adding fractions with like terms. Next, we will be learning about subtracting fractions with like terms. First is locate the numerators and denominators. For instance, look at the equation 12 over 26 minus 4 over 26 minus 1 over 26. In this example, the numerators are 12, 4, and 1. The common denominator is 26. Next, subtract the numerators. Like with addition, you don't have to worry about doing anything to the denominator. So, just find the difference between the numerators. In this case, 12 minus 4 minus 1 all over 26 is equal to 7 over 26. You will have to rewrite the fraction with the new numerator. That is 7 over 26. Next is reduce or solve the fraction if necessary. Similar to adding fractions, when you subtract fractions, you can still end up with an improper fraction that can be converted to a mixed number, or a fraction that can be solved through division, or a fraction that can be put into a simpler form by finding a common denominator. In this case, 7 over 26 can also be thought as 7 divided by 26, which is equal to 0.269. That is for subtracting fractions with like terms. Next, we will learn about finding a common denominator. First is locate the denominators. Fractions don't always have the same denominators, and in order to add or subtract those fractions, you must first find a common denominator. To start, locate the denominators in the fractions you're dealing with. For instance, in the equation 5 over 8 plus 6 over 9, the denominators are 8 and 9. Next, determine the least common multiple. To find a common denominator, you need to find the least common multiple of the two numbers, which is the smallest positive number that is a multiple of both original numbers. To find the least common multiples of each other, the multiples of 8 are 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80, and etc. The multiples of 9 are 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90, and etc. Now, the least common multiple of 8 and 9 is 72. Next, multiply the fractions to achieve the least common multiple. Multiply each denominator by the correct number to achieve the common denominator. Remember that whatever you do to each denominator, you must also do to its numerator. For the fraction 5 over 8, to achieve the common denominator of 72, you multiply it by 9. Therefore, 5 times 9, and also multiply the numerator by 9, giving you 5 times 9 all over 8 times 9 is equal to 45 over 72. For the fraction 6 over 9, to achieve the common denominator of 72, you multiply 9 by 8. Therefore, you must also multiply the numerator by 8, giving you 6 times 8 is equal to 48. Then, rewrite the fractions. The new fraction will have the common denominator and the product of the numerators multiplied by the same values. The fraction 5/8 becomes 45 over 72, and the fraction 6 over 9 becomes 48 over 72. Since they now have a common denominator, you can add the fractions 45 over 72 plus 48 over 72, and that is equal to 93 over 72. Don't forget to reduce, solve, or convert improper fractions to mixed numbers when applicable and necessary. For instance, 93 over 72 is also equal to 1 over 21 over 72, and it is also equal to 1.291. That is for finding a common denominator.